Russia is expanding its influence and military presence in the Sahel at an unprecedented pace. After consolidating itself in Mali, where Wagner Group mercenaries were instrumental in the National Army's reconquest of Kidal against Tuareg rebels last November, Moscow is now laying the groundwork for its deployment in Burkina Faso and negotiating with Niger to become a key military ally. To this end, the Russian government has created a new military structure called Africa Corps, which reports to the Ministry of Defense. In this way, the aim is to replace the Wagner Group and move from a decentralized private company to one controlled more directly by the state. At the same time, at the beginning of December, the UN formalized a total withdrawal from Mali after handing over the Mopti base to the Malian authorities. On November 14th, after violent fighting against the Tuareg rebels, the Malian army triumphantly entered the city of Kidal, a separatist fiefdom that the authorities had not controlled for more than a decade. However, the Malian soldiers were not alone. Around 600 Wagner mercenaries were part of the enormous convoy that left Gao for the mission. In several videos shared on social networks, mercenaries could be seen aboard armored vehicles driving around the city that had fallen into the hands of the army. Days later, a flag with the Wagner logo flew over the Kidal fort until it was removed by the Malian authorities, who prefer to maintain a patriotic discourse that attributes the success of the operation to the armed forces themselves. Would the Malian army have been able to reconquer the Kidal region on its own? Who knows? What there is no doubt is that Russian participation has helped and that the armed forces of the Sahel, as in the case of Mali, today have better equipment, says Amid Bencherif, a researcher specializing in the Sahel. Since at least December 2021, the presence of Wagner mercenaries on Malian soil and their participation in numerous anti-terrorism operations has been reported, especially in the center of the country. Since then, Russian weapons have arrived in Mali, and Colonel Assimi Goïta, leader of the Malian military junta, received a lot of attention from Russian President Vladimir Putin during the Russia-Africa summit last July. However, the death of Wagner Group leader Yevgeny Prigozhin after he rebelled against the Russian president changed the way Russia provides military support to its African allies. On November 22nd, a recruitment ad for an organization called Africa Corps appeared on Telegram. The Africa Corps presents itself as Russia's new armed wing on the continent, and is directly linked to the Ministry of Defense. According to the All Eyes on Wagner Association, which specializes in the activities of this company, the Africa Corps would constitute a convenient cover for the operational personnel of the Russian Ministry of Defense, as well as for its security services, since it has a much more limited autonomy mandate compared to Wagner Group and lacked a strong figure like Prigozhin. Burkina Faso is also moving closer to Russia. On November 10th, a Russian army plane landed at Ouagadougou airport. According to several sources, about 20 uniformed officers got off the plane and checked into a luxury hotel in the capital. After a year of rumors, Russian soldiers were openly seen at a chemical factory and allowed to be photographed at a laboratory that produces drugs to treat viral hemorrhagic fevers in Bobo-Dioulasso, the country's second-largest city. Days earlier, Burkina Faso public television had broadcast a report on the fight against jihadism in the north-central region, in which an army captain appeared with two large Wagner logos sewn onto his uniform, according to All Eyes on Wagner. Although Captain Ibrahim Traoré, strongman of the Burkinabe military junta, has chosen to strengthen the country's own resources in the anti-jihadist fight, carrying out intense, sometimes forced, recruitment both for the armed forces and for the controversial Volunteers for the Homeland Defense, VDP, has also recognized on numerous occasions the need for international support, especially in matters of war material. Like Goïta, Traoré had several conversations with Vladimir Putin at the St. Petersburg summit and later by telephone, and Russian and Burkinabe military delegations have met on multiple occasions over the past year. In Niger, where a military junta has also governed since last summer, the new authorities last Monday denounced the defense agreements that bind it to the European Union. On the same day, Russian Deputy Defense Minister Yunusbek Yevkarov met in Niamey with General Abdourahmane Tiani, President of Niger, and General Salif Modi, Minister of Defense. The meetings were aimed at strengthening cooperation between the two countries in the field of defense. According to a Nigerian government statement, There is clearly a strategy on Russia's part to expand its influence, Bencherov says, adding that Russia is also trying to curb Western influence. This Russian expansion comes after the authorities of Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger expelled French soldiers from their respective territories and created the Alliance of Sahel States, an organization of mutual aid and military cooperation born after the rest of the countries of the region threatened military intervention against Niger. The three states also collaborate on economic and trade issues to counter Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, sanctions. The UN mission in Mali was also forced to pack its bags at the request of the military junta. Meanwhile, jihadism, which has been affecting the region for more than a decade and is carried out by local branches of Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State, remains very active. In late November, a jihadist attack in the northern Burkina Faso city of Djibo killed at least 22 people, and there were many more in Malian cities such as Menaka. Last week, Burkina Faso and Niger announced their withdrawal from the Western-backed G5 anti-jihadist alliance, paving the way for its dissolution.
For more news like this across the globe, please subscribe to our channel, like and share this video. Thank you.